All right, Steelers Nation, let's get real for a second. That game we just watched was a tough one to swallow. After the hype and dominance against Indianapolis, it felt like the team had finally turned a corner, like we were about to see the real Steelers take shape. But then, bam, they came out looking flat, confused, and inconsistent. You could feel the drop-off in energy from the first series. It was like watching two completely different teams in back-to-back weeks. And when you walked into that locker room afterward, the mood said it all: silence, frustration, and that one word echoing from every corner: consistency. That's the word everyone kept coming back to. Cam Hayward said it. Alex Highsmith said it. Even Brandon Eccles, who barely wanted to talk, said it. You could see it on their faces. This isn't just a buzzword, it's a desperate plea. Everyone in that room knows what the problem is, but they can't seem to fix it. It's almost like they understand what's broken, but can't find the tools to repair it. And that's what makes it so frustrating. Because when you look at this team, the defense actually hasn't been bad. Sure, they weren't at their best, but they did enough to give the offense chances. Against the Chargers, they held their own. The numbers might not pop off the page, but the energy, the physicality, it was there. You can't really blame the defense when the offense spends most of the game going 3 and out. The real issue, once again, was on the other side of the ball. The offense just can't seem to find who they are. Remember back in training camp at St. Vincent College? All the talk was about identity. The defense knew who they wanted to be: an aggressive, takeaway-driven unit that gets in your face and steals possessions. And sometimes they played exactly like that. But the offense? It still feels lost, like it doesn't even recognize itself in the mirror. There's no rhythm, no plan, no understanding of what works and what doesn't. It's like they keep trying to be something they're not. And I'm just going to say it. This offense needs to stop pretending it's built around Aaron Rodgers and start being built around Jaylen Warren. It's that simple. Jaylen is the heartbeat of this team right now. 14 carries for 70 yards doesn't sound flashy, but every single one of those runs mattered. There were no wasted plays. Every time he touched the ball, it moved the offense forward. Meanwhile, Rodgers was missing throws, overthrowing receivers, trying to make plays that just aren't there anymore. It's not disrespect, it's reality. Father Time is undefeated, and Rodgers can't keep playing like he's 25. Let's not complicate this. Jaylen Warren is your identity. Not Rodgers, not DK Metcalf, not the wideouts who can't seem to stay in sync. When you've got a back who's averaging 5 yards per carry, who can make something out of nothing, who brings energy every snap, you feed that man the ball. You build around him. You control the tempo. You keep your defense fresh by keeping the football in your hands. Because right now, the Steelers' biggest problem isn't just inefficiency, it's imbalance. Against the Chargers, the time of possession was embarrassing. Los Angeles had the ball for 37 minutes and 35 seconds. The Steelers? Just 22 minutes and 25 seconds. That's not a minor difference. That's an entire quarter more football for the other team. The Chargers ran nearly 70 plays. The Steelers barely hit 50. You can't win games like that, not in this league. You can't expect your defense to hold up when they're on the field for 3/4 of the game. And the crazy part? The holes were there for Jaylen all night. The Chargers weren't built to stop him. He could have eaten them alive. But instead of sticking to what worked, the offense kept trying to make Rodgers the hero again. He kept forcing throws, trying to escape pressure like it was 2015, and it just didn't work. Every drive that started to find rhythm ended up being derailed by a bad read or a deep shot that never had a chance. I can't for the life of me understand why this keeps happening. Maybe it's play calling. Maybe it's ego. Maybe it's just stubbornness. But it's killing this team. Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, Rodgers, somebody has to look in the mirror and realize that this isn't working. Jaylen isn't a backup. He isn't a 1B option. He's the guy. The locker room knows it. The defense knows it. Even Rodgers knows it. He said it himself after the game. We've got to get Jaylen more touches. Well, no kidding. Because right now, every time Jaylen runs the ball, something positive happens. He breaks tackles. He finds space. He gives this offense a pulse. That's what you build around. You run the ball, you set up short passes to the tight ends, you control the clock, and you play Steelers football. It doesn't have to be flashy. It doesn't have to be a highlight reel. It just has to be smart, efficient, and tough. That's how this team wins. Look, maybe it's not the modern NFL offense everyone wants. Maybe it's not the high-flying, shotgun spread, 40-pass-a-game system that fans see on Sundays across the league. But it doesn't matter. You play to your strengths, not someone else's style. The Steelers' strength is a bruising, punishing, relentless running back who can grind down defenses. That's who they are, or at least who they should be. And until they accept that, nothing's going to change. The offense will keep sputtering, the defense will keep getting worn out, and we'll keep having the same conversations about consistency every single week. It's not rocket science. It's football. Stick to what works. Jaylen Warren works. Period. When you think back to those classic Steelers teams, they all had one thing in common: identity. Whether it was the hard-hitting defense of the 70s or the ground-and-pound offenses under Cowher, those teams knew who they were. Right now, this one doesn't. And that's what makes it so hard to watch. You see flashes of what it could be, moments that make you believe, and then it just disappears again. If the Steelers are going to turn this around, it starts with embracing their reality. Rodgers can still play a role, but not the role. The passing game can still be part of the plan, but it can't be the plan. This offense needs rhythm. It needs control. It needs a heartbeat, and that heartbeat wears number 30. So the question now is whether the coaching staff has the courage to admit it, whether they're willing to shift the offense's entire identity mid-season, because that's what it'll take. If they keep pretending this is a pass-first team led by an aging quarterback, they're going to keep getting the same results: inconsistency, frustration, and wasted potential. But if they commit to Jaylen, if they make him the centerpiece, they've got a chance to stabilize, to find that missing rhythm, and to finally start playing complementary football again. And speaking of consistency, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers for a minute, because that performance raised more than a few eyebrows. When you have a 4-time MVP out, they're missing wide-open receivers, overthrowing passes, and trying to make plays that simply aren't there anymore, it's impossible not to wonder what's really going on. Is this just a rough patch, or is this the moment where age finally starts to show? Because what we saw out there wasn't the Rodgers that people expected when he put on the black and gold. It was a quarterback fighting the game instead of controlling it. And that's something we've rarely, if ever, said about him in his entire career. The numbers don't lie, but they also don't tell the whole story. You could see it from the very first quarter. He looked uncomfortable in the pocket, almost jittery. The protection wasn't great, sure, but it wasn't awful either. Still, Rodgers kept trying to escape pressure that wasn't really there, drifting backward, spinning away from lanes that could have been used to step up and deliver. It felt like he didn't trust the line, didn't trust the play design, maybe didn't even trust himself. That's when you start to see bad habits creep in, and those habits can sink an offense fast. It's been 3 straight weeks of this now. Every game looks a little more chaotic than the last. He's trying to escape collapsing pockets by rolling out like he used to in Green Bay, but the legs aren't the same. The timing isn't the same. He's holding the ball too long, turning small mistakes into big ones. Against the Colts, it led to 3 sacks. Against the Chargers, 3 more, plus that ugly safety when he ran backward into Khalil Mack. That's not veteran poise, that's panic. And when a veteran quarterback starts to panic, it spreads through the whole offense. Receivers start second-guessing routes. The line starts hesitating. Play callers start scrambling for answers that don't exist. What's crazy is that Rodgers himself acknowledged after the game that he didn't play well. He even pointed out specific throws he missed. That kind of honesty is fine, but recognition without adjustment means nothing. The problem isn't just that he's missing passes. It's that the offense keeps acting like he's still the guy who can take over games. And he's not. Not anymore. He can still contribute, still be efficient, but he's no longer the player who can carry a team on his back week after week. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being 41 and not being able to throw lasers on the run anymore. The issue is when everyone refuses to admit it. Mike Tomlin, Arthur Smith, the offensive staff, they've got to stop designing game plans as if Rodgers can still play hero ball. Because every time they do, it ends the same way. Forced throws, wasted possessions, and a defense that's gassed halfway through the fourth quarter. You could feel it last night. The longer the game went on, the more disjointed the offense became. The receivers looked lost. DK Metcalf dropped passes, misread routes, stumbled through his cuts. Calvin Austin couldn't find separation. The tight ends had a few flashes. Darnell Washington made a nice grab. Pat Freiermuth caught what was thrown his way, but nothing that really tilted the field. And through it all, there was Jaylen Warren standing on the sideline, helmet in hand, waiting for another chance that never came. That's what makes this so maddening. The solution is sitting right there. Every time Jaylen touched the ball, the offense moved. Every time they went away from him, it fell apart. This isn't complicated football theory. It's basic logic. You play through your best player. You shorten the game. You keep your defense fresh. Instead, they're trying to win shootouts with a quarterback who's clearly not built for that anymore. Even the locker room knows it. You can tell when players talk about the offense. They're all saying the same thing, even if they're careful with their words. They talk about needing rhythm, about playing to their strengths, about establishing identity. That's code for run the ball. You can hear in their tone, see in their body language. This team knows what it should be doing, but for some reason, the people calling the plays can't bring themselves to commit. And maybe part of that is Rodgers himself. He's earned so much respect over the years that it's hard for coaches to rein him in. But at some point, leadership means honesty. Somebody in that building has to tell him, we don't need you to be the guy. We need you to be a guy. Manage the game. Protect the football. Hand it off. Hit the easy throws. That's how you win with this roster. That's how you stay in games instead of playing from behind every week. Because let's be real, if the Steelers don't figure this out soon, it's going to spiral. The AFC is brutal, and you can't afford to drop winnable games because you refuse to adapt. The Ravens are right there. The Bengals are finding rhythm. The Browns are a problem defensively. There's no margin for error. You can't let stubbornness drag down an entire season. And that's the thing about consistency. It's not just about execution. It's about understanding who you are and sticking to it. The great teams in this league know exactly what they're built to do. The Steelers right now look like a team still arguing with themselves about what they want to be. That's why they're stuck at 5 wins and 4 losses instead of sitting comfortably in the playoff race. Until they commit fully, unapologetically, to playing through the run, they're going to stay stuck in this frustrating middle ground. What needs to happen between now and next Sunday against the Bengals is simple. This offense has to be rebuilt around Jaylen Warren. Not halfway, not as an occasional change of pace, but completely. Feed him. Let him set the tone. Use Kenny Gainwell and Caleb Johnson to spell him when needed, but keep the ball on the ground. Control the tempo. Make defenses respect the run again. And when they start stacking the box, that's when Rodgers can pick his spots, hit tight ends over the middle, and make smart, calculated throws, not desperation heaves. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. After weeks of speculation and endless chatter across sports networks, Jacoby Meyers has finally broken his silence, shedding light on the real reason he didn't join the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fans, analysts, and insiders have been spinning theories for months. Was it money, a clash with coaching philosophy, or something entirely off the field? According to Meyers, the truth is far more personal and unexpected than anyone imagined. In a candid interview, the wide receiver described being approached by the Steelers with what seemed like a promising offer. However, as talks progressed, Meyers revealed that it wasn't about the figures on the contract or the city's passionate fan base. I had to think about my family and where I see myself thriving, not just on the field, but off it as well, he said. Sources close to the player indicate that the decision was heavily influenced by lifestyle considerations and the environment he wanted for his children, as well as the support system he felt he would need in the coming seasons. The revelation has sparked a flurry of reactions across social media, with fans debating whether Meyers made the right choice. Some argue that the Steelers missed out on a game-changing talent who could have added another dimension to their offense, while others respect his stance, praising the star for prioritizing personal well-being over public pressure and media expectations. Meanwhile, NFL insiders suggest that this decision might influence future moves for both Meyers and the Steelers, leaving the door open for potential reunions or surprising trades down the line. What's particularly intriguing is the hint Meyers dropped about the Steelers' locker room dynamics. While he stopped short of criticizing anyone directly, he admitted that team culture played a significant role in his evaluation. Analysts are now dissecting whether this was a subtle jab at recent coaching decisions or a general reflection on the environment he was walking into. Either way, the story has reignited discussions about how much weight players should, and do, place on locker room chemistry versus financial incentives. For now, the sports world waits, buzzing with anticipation over what Meyers' next move will be. Whether he ultimately joins a different franchise or stays put to refine his current game, one thing is clear. His decision-making process has opened a rare window into the often private considerations behind high-profile NFL choices. The Steelers, meanwhile, are left to recalibrate their strategy, navigating a market where talent, timing, and personal priorities intersect in unpredictable ways. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.